Covered in tattoos, wrapped in mystery, and armed with a voice that bends genres, Post Malone isn't just another musician. He's a paradox. A man who sings about heartbreak while smiling through the pain. A superstar who broke every rule the industry built, and still became one of the most streamed artists in history. But his story isn't just about fame or fortune. It's about a kid named Austin Richard Post, who left everything behind in Texas with nothing but a guitar, a dream, and a laptop. From a viral song recorded in his bedroom to stadiums filled with thousands chanting his name. His rise was lightning fast, but so were the storms that followed. Behind the champagne, the tattoos, and the chart-topping hits lies a darker truth. One of loneliness, addiction, and the fight to stay human in a world that wants perfection. How did Post Malone rise, fall, and rise again to become the face of a generation? Let's find out. Before he became Post Malone, he was Austin Richard Post, a shy, creative kid born on July 4, 1995, in Syracuse, New York. His father, Rich Post, worked for the Dallas Cowboys and had a deep love for music, spinning everything from classic rock to hip-hop. His mother, Jody, nurtured his imagination, letting him explore sound, rhythm, and emotion without judgment. When Austin was just 9, the family moved to Grapevine, Texas, chasing new opportunities. It was there, under the endless southern skies, that he discovered who he wanted to be. He wasn't the popular kid, or the athlete. He was the boy who'd stay up late in his room, learning guitar riffs from Guitar Hero and writing songs about dreams he couldn't yet name. Music became his escape, and his identity. He would blend what he heard from his dad's vinyls, Bob Dylan, Metallica, and 50 Cent, into something that felt uniquely his own. Behind his laid-back smile, young Austin was already searching for belonging, somewhere between the worlds of rock, rap, and heartbreak. He didn't know it yet, but those lonely nights with his guitar would soon define his destiny. In 2014, Austin dropped out of college and packed his dreams into a beat-up car, heading straight to Los Angeles. No plan, no label, just faith. And a laptop filled with half-finished beats. He crashed on friends' couches, spending nights recording in cramped rooms where the walls shook with bass and ambition. Among those rough demos was a track called White Iverson. Inspired by basketball legend Allen Iverson, the song was raw, emotional, and hauntingly confident. It wasn't about money or fame. It was about believing in yourself before anyone else did. When Austin uploaded it to SoundCloud in early 2015, everything changed. The internet exploded. Millions of plays in days. Rappers, producers, and even Drake took notice. Suddenly, the kid from Texas, with the braids and gold grill, was at the center of hip-hop's next big storm. He signed with Republic Records, and the world met Post Malone for the first time. But behind the viral fame, Austin still felt like that same lonely dreamer from Grapevine, terrified of losing himself to the world he'd always wanted to be part of. Success came fast, maybe too fast. After White Iverson, Post Malone's debut album Stoney 2016 shattered expectations. With hits like Congratulations and Go Flex, he became the voice of a new generation, the sound of late nights, heartbreak, and reckless youth. But it was his next album, Beer Bongs and Bentleys 2018, that made him unstoppable. Rockstar and Psycho ruled the charts, streaming billions of times. He wasn't just topping playlists. He was rewriting what pop, hip-hop, and rock could sound like together. Every track felt like a diary entry, confessions masked behind auto-tuned melodies and booming bass. He sang about excess, fame, and the emptiness that came with both. Fans saw themselves in his vulnerability, the man covered in tattoos, hiding heartbreak behind a smile and a beer can. He sold out arenas worldwide, collaborated with legends like Ozzy Osbourne, Sway Lee, and Justin Bieber. The boy from Grapevine had become a global phenomenon, standing at the summit of modern music. Yet, even at the peak, Post never felt like he belonged. While the world saw a carefree superstar, he saw himself as a misfit, an outsider in his own empire. He once said, "I'm just trying to make something beautiful in a world that doesn't always feel that way." Fame had given him everything, but it also began to take something precious away. With fame came fortune, but also fear. The same stage lights that once felt like freedom began to burn. Behind the smile, Post Malone was crumbling. His face, now covered in tattoos, became a symbol of rebellion, but also of protection. He once admitted, "I got them because I felt ugly inside. Maybe if people look at my face, they won't see what's underneath." Rumors swirled: alcohol addiction, depression, exhaustion. Videos surfaced of him stumbling on stage, eyes half closed, voice trembling. Fans panicked. Was their idol breaking down before their eyes? He laughed it off in interviews, saying he was fine. But those close to him knew the truth. The tours, the isolation, the constant pressure to stay relevant were taking their toll. He lived in hotel rooms that all felt the same, surrounded by people but haunted by loneliness. The media called him the sad boy of pop. Critics mocked his look, his sound, even his personality. Too soft for hip-hop, too weird for pop. But Post refused to fight back. He simply kept making music, turning pain into melody. Songs like Goodbyes, Circles, and I Fall Apart revealed his fragile soul, dressed in beats and heartbreak. He wasn't chasing fame anymore. He was trying to survive it. As one journalist wrote, Post Malone's biggest scandal isn't a tabloid headline, it's his honesty. And in a world obsessed with perfection, that honesty made him more human than ever. After years of chaos, something changed. Post Malone began to disappear. Not from fame, but from the noise surrounding it. He moved quietly, focused on his health, his art, and something entirely new: fatherhood. In 2022, he released 12 Carat Toothache, an album unlike anything before. Gone were the anthems of excess. In their place stood raw, emotional confessions about love, loss, and self-worth. It wasn't made to dominate the charts. It was made to heal. He stopped drinking heavily. He started smiling more. In interviews, he spoke not about success, but gratitude, about being alive, about finding peace. Fans noticed the change. His eyes clearer, his words softer, his presence calmer. He told the world, "I'm the happiest I've ever been. I've got my little girl, and that's all that matters." The man once defined by heartbreak had finally found his heart again. No longer just the sad boy of pop, Post Malone had become something greater, a symbol of survival, self-acceptance, and rebirth. Post Malone's journey is not just a story of fame. It's a story of truth, of a boy who dared to be different in a world that punishes imperfection. He blurred the lines between genres, broke stereotypes, and reminded millions that vulnerability is not weakness. It's power. His music became more than just songs. It became a mirror for a generation, for anyone who's ever felt lost, lonely, or misunderstood. He showed that you can wear your pain like armor and still stand tall. From White Iverson to Circles, from chaos to clarity, Post Malone redefined what it means to be an artist in the 21st century. He didn't follow the rules of Hollywood or hip-hop, he wrote his own. And perhaps that's his greatest legacy, proving that even in a world of filters and perfection, authenticity still wins. Narrator, deep male voice. Post Malone's journey reminds us that art isn't about being flawless. It's about being real. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because behind every star, there's always a scandal worth uncovering.